Okay, let's get this show on the road. If you're watching this video, it's all about niching down and the importance of niching down and how that can help you. So I'm going to go through my screen. I've got a ton of stuff that I want to go through. So the first thing I want to talk about is most people that are building a creative agency, a video agency, are generalist. And my biggest bugbear with this is, first, there's two ways to sort of niche down, but most people will just, when they very first start, they will fall into the idea of just being a generalist. And I'll talk about some of the things that are going to hold you back from niching down and things that sort of held me back that sort of I couldn't wrap my head around, and I was having a very hard time with it. But for now, like, if we just look at this as a sort of, this is what most people do. They become a general video agency. If you're a PT, I'll take you, plumber, accountant, I'll take a biz coach, I'll take a mechanic, I'll take a hospital lawyer, speaker. You'll just take anyone and everyone. Now, one of the biggest things that I learned, and I learned this later on in life, I didn't learn it straight away. In fact, I struggled a couple of years before I actually realized the science of niche. And in fact, when I niched down, I actually didn't first niche down into an actual industry. I niched down into a product. And so I had a specific type of product, which was called a brand story, which my sort of thought pattern or my sort of offering was to humanize, you know, the people behind the brand. That was my big thing. And typically that was the leader. And that was my offer. And that worked. And it's still, you know, even to this day, I still have clients from all over different types of industries. But it was only when I started to focus on speakers and consultants is when I really started to skyrocket. Now, the problem I see with being a generalist, first, it just spreads you way too thin across multiple platforms. You're constantly, and I mean constantly, competing. And the biggest problem for video agencies at the moment is there's just so many coming up. With cameras reducing in price, with particularly like cameras just being super cheap now. You got kids waking up just going, fresh out of school, going, I'm going to become a filmmaker. And so the commodity services is becoming such a commodity service because camera guys and editors are so easy to find. But if you're offering something to a specific group, and we'll talk about niching and the power of it in a second, but this is the biggest problem, which is commodity. It will only ever get, and brings me back to and this is where I really dawned on me, is that someone once said to me that you will only ever get 1 to 2% of the market share when you be a generalist. You're constantly competing on price. You're easily replaceable, as I said before. It's hard to build social market value or your clout or your sort of notoriety because you're too generalized and people are like, oh yeah, that's just a guy that works in video. But if you're a guy that works in my industry, it's completely different. They have to pay attention because you're giving them insights to the industry. And okay, so people in particularly builders, they actually do video. This guy's talking about being a specialist with video. It gets the attention. So no clear avatar, which is also going to lead me into my next statement. And again, poor conversion. And this is where it all leads to. So what is the main thing that people get scared of? The big thing is turning clients away, limited marketing, and fear of missing out. And a lot of people don't even know where to start. And then choosing the wrong niche, particularly if you don't love it, can be very, very problematic. Now, the FOMO situation, and these are things that went through my mind. What if I miss out? Turning people away. I don't really know much about a niche. What niche would I pick? Won't we be chasing the same people? What if I go up against a competitor? How will my niche... all these sort of mental sort of me versus myself got in the way of this because it's such a... I think the reason why it's such a massive thing and one of the biggest decisions is because it's going to affect your website, it's going to affect your social media, it's going to affect everything you talk about. It's going to be basically you making a stance saying, I work with builders and only builders. I work with commercial builders and only commercial builders. And this is such a big statement because every single part of your marketing now needs to be sort of geared towards that in order to get it to where it wants to be. Now, the other thing... The other thing that I want to sort of point your attention to is, and I guess the way I can shift your belief system around this is that let's say that you had a heart problem. Would you rather see a general doctor or would you rather see a heart specialist? And a lot of you that are suffering in terms of the 30K challenge, it's not suffering, that it suffered by not getting anything above 30K, and this is the reason why we've put the 30K challenge together. Sorry, I got muddled up there. Is because you simply don't understand the power of what niching can do. A heart specialist is going to charge way more ever than a generalist, a general doctor. And so the reality of niching, and what I found to be true, working and talking to 80 agencies a day, video agencies, cinematographers, producers, etc., is that niching down will give you around 40% of the market share. And look, when you start to go into a niche and you're starting to attract the top tier of that niche, the affluent side of an industry, you start to see that they buy different. They completely and utterly buy different. They buy based on value. They're not buying based on a meal deal or something cheap, or can I have your day rate? Can I grind your price down? What they're looking for is return on investment. They're looking to dominate the market. And that in itself will attract a much more premium client. But until you've done it, you're not going to know. So the misconceptions around this is there's tons of them. The facts, one of many, one niche forever, which is simply not true. Turn down work, not true. I actually had a student that niched into plastic surgery, and she was quite concerned around going into plastic surgery. And when she finally did it, she ended up landing a $50,000 deal. And then from there, she thought that she would be kicking everywhere. And then I think it was FIFA from the UK contacted her. I think when other brands see that you're a specialist, they see you have a point of focus, that you have discipline, that you're a specialist, that they want to actually learn, inquire. These are not scripted, these videos, people. They are just literally and utterly off the top of the dome and straight into it. So don't get worried about turning down work, okay? The benefits of niching is it aligns with the prospects, one of us. It's easier to market to a hungry crowd. It focuses on messaging and offer because you're speaking to a direct pain point. You have a way higher perceived value, going back to the heart specialist versus the general doctor. You have a massive sales advantage because you can say that you are specialized. You have solution and problem pattern recognition, which means that you can collect insights. And if you watch the other video that I talked about, Belief, collecting insights is a part of something that I'm going to be talking a lot through this particular series in the 30K challenge. So this is really, really important because you can start to really build up a bank of insights. And insights are very, 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 very sought after, particularly. And that, in turn, by working with a certain industry, will turn you into a deep specialist, especially if you're fully committed and you believe in it and you love it. And we're going to get to the ikigai in a second, but that's really, really important. It's easy to rank on Google, lower ad cost as well, because you can really geo-target the person, which is another massive benefit that you simply need to. This is a really, really good pit. When you're running ads to a specific industry, it is so much easier to put not only the sort of targeting together, but the actual creative. You move from a commodity to a specialist, and it's very, very easy to refer because people can say, look, this guy only works with XYZ industry. Now, the way to pick your industry, this is obviously a very, very important thing, and we spoke about this in the other video, which is, first we've got to ask ourselves, what kind of industry do we love to work with? Who do we like to spend our time with? What knowledge do we have? What kind of relationships do we currently serve? This is a really good way. I'm like, if you're a veteran and you've been around for 5 to 10 years, you would already have the answer to the type of clients that you love to work. Are they high paying? Are they great fun? Are they easy going? Like, you've got to pick an industry that you absolutely have some kind of bond or feeling or passion or some kind of curiosity around to it. Even if you don't love it, curiosity is a very good one. Then the next question you have to ask yourself is, does the world need what you have to offer? And this is where I pretty much focused on this part first, and then I went to, then will they pay for it? And then did I get good at it? And I ended up just falling in love through the process. I always loved putting cinema together. I always loved telling sort of short form little movie, mini doc type of things for brands. I just had the love for it, but I needed to know, would it work for them? How do we in sort of embed strategy plus creativity? And we'll talk further around that when we get to the offer side of things. But as long as you know you love an industry and you know that the world needs it and they will pay for it and you're good at it, this is where you really want to be sitting. Now, for those of you that are in the Natural Born Storytellers, I'm actually going to give you guys some worksheets and some other videos that one of my growth specialists is going to walk you through. But for those of you on YouTube watching through, I just want to make a case here around Google. So if someone searches the word video production, they're going to come up with sort of 2 million, millions of people that are going to come up. Now, if you put video production for e-commerce, it draws it down to that. Now, if you put video production for e-commerce jewelry, it draws it down to that. And so there's less competition. And again, you're going in as more of a premium. Now, some really, really good niches to go into. I just want to highlight some of this stuff. And this is some of my time. Like builders is one of my favorite ones. Construction, building, property developers is another one that I really, really enjoy. Lawyers is a really, really good one. This one, believe it or not, fertility clinics is actually fantastic. Anything luxury goods like yachts and them kind of things, fantastic. Anything around the financial services or white collar work, you can actually but I would prefer you, if you're watching this, to actually pick one. Accountants or lawyers. I wouldn't do it so generalized. Now, once you've picked your niche, one of the things that you can do, and I think this is really, really important, and I did it, and I'm going to show you I did it. Basically, you use this formula, which is we help. Let's say you do builders, get more leads, could be, without having to film yourself by my particular method. I'm going to give you an example here. Okay, let me give you some examples. Okay, so the first one. I help video agencies book 30K plus brand videos consistently without taking on projects they hate. Okay, Brandon is another guy that we like. I help attorneys attract premium clients through memorable songs and engaging visuals. You don't always have to put the without bit in. I tell impactful stories in the mental health space and bolster brand connection and drive revenue growth. Okay, and then this one. These are all our students, by the way, guys. I help speakers and experts transform their industry using story to educate and build communities. Very powerful statement. And then creative production, specializing in health sector, home, prodcore, creative director. Now, obviously, we're giving you a formula here. And I mean, even when I was going through it, you could see that I was struggling to actually come up with it. You have to sit and think about it. Great place to throw this into, ChatGPT. It will give you tons of ideas. Now, for those of you that are deciding to niche down and will niche down, this is what you're going to find is going to happen when you do. You're going to have a clear avatar. You're going to be able to sell a solution. You're going to have a comprehended pain and desires, which means that you're going to know exactly what you're selling to pains and desires. And let me tell you, pain is definitely what will get the client wanting to spend money with you. Unlocking their burning desires is what will make them transfer the money to you. Now, customer journey is really, really important to understand. And if you're being a generalist and you're trying to understand a ton of people's different journey maps, it's a lot of the way we build the offer out, then you're going to have the major problem of not knowing where to put these certain assets that you're creating, whether it's short form, long form, branded content, branded series, brand stories, impact stories, whatever it is. You're not going to know where to do it. And once you've got your niche, you will know exactly where to do it. Now, the results of what I've found, and this is just me from my vast experience of understanding working with so many other video agencies, is that you become irreplaceable specialist. You become very strong in your sales. You create demand, and demand around the attention in terms of your content becomes way easier to produce because you have a certain person you're talking to. You can charge a premium, and you can be easily referred and consistently deliver a solution. It's easy to systemize your offer and completely and utterly dominate an industry. And again, what I found with niching is that you will attract the top 40% of an industry. And when you hit that sort of top 40%, top 20%, of an industry and the affluent side of an industry, what you find is they buy different. They buy in a way that they want to dominate. So their budgets really come out, and you will find there's a lot more premium clients within your niche once you become a specialist. So just to recap, this is the big thing for me, is that you'll only ever get 1 to 2% if you become a generalist. And some of you may have got market share because of longevity, and you may feel like that this statement's not true, but until you actually niche down, you will never know what power you will possess. It is a very powerful thing. You will always get a bigger portion of the market by becoming a specialist, always. Again, I just want to bring your attention to this, which is, who would you pick if you had a heart problem, a general doctor or a heart specialist? And this is why the 30K challenge is so much easier to do it and this is why I know it can work, is once you niche down, and particularly if you niche down into a product and you niche down into an industry, that can be a very powerful thing to do. Anyway, I hope this helped. In the next, for those of you in Natural Born Storytellers, you will get access to these documents, these 2 documents, plus 2 videos that will be running you through how to niche down, which we go into a much more substance and a much more baseline of how to actually get to your niche. And I think we actually go through this particular part, which is getting that offer on your social media and your banners, so that, and your website, so that people can see clearly what you do, with what dream outcome you solve, what kind of pain problem you also solve, and then unique mechanism is probably the best thing that I would say, unique service or approach to solving that problem, which creates a lot of intrigue and actually makes people lean in to want to work with you. So I hope this video was helpful, and you got some great ideas.